Okay. So here we're going to be throwing a basketball, and we want to hit it into the basket. That's kind of the point. And we're going to have it go at exactly 30 degrees. But the question we are faced with is, how fast does the ball have to be thrown in order for that to happen? Okay. And so what we'll do is, a good place to start with all of these kinds of questions is just get right out there, v naught x. In this case, we don't know what it is. Okay. It's going to call it v naught cosine 30 degrees. And then v naught y is v naught sine 30 degrees. Okay. Just get that down there. Make that one of the first things that you do. That's really going to help you out. Okay. And then it's kind of like, well, if we may not know how to proceed here. So we kind of fall back on what we did a lot of times in statics, which is, well, let's just look at the x's and let's look at the y's and let's see where those different bits of information take us. Okay. So in terms of x here, we can say the range, all right, is v naught x delta t. Okay. So if we go ahead and substitute in what we know, we got v naught cosine 30 delta t. Okay. So it's like, all right, there's our range, velocity, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Just like that. Now, let's come over here then, and that's kind of like, that's our x information. Let's get our y, our vertical information here. So we're looking at delta y. It's v naught y delta t minus 1/2 g delta t squared. Okay. And let's go ahead and put in what we know for v naught y. Okay, so we're looking at delta y is v naught sine 30 delta t minus 1/2 g delta t squared. Okay, so what we have now is we have a pair of equations. Okay, and I tell you what, to make that a little bit easier to see, let me take each of these equations one more step, okay, because we know the range is 10. Okay, so we can see that in that one equation, I've got two unknowns, v naught and delta t. And let's do the same thing over here. My delta y, I'm going up 1/2. Sine 30, delta t minus 1/2 g delta t squared. Okay, and so really in both of these equations, here's v naught, which we don't know, and here's delta t, which we don't know. Okay, and so at this point, what we could do is we could just say, well, let's put them both into our calculator and let the calculator solve it for us. But it's instructive to go through the algebra on this, okay? Don't get too reliant on your calculator to do stuff like that for you, okay? It's a skill that you need to have. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to rewrite, and I'm going to substitute in delta t's. So delta t is going to turn into 10 over v naught cosine 30. Okay, and I'm going to put that in right here. Okay, so now I've got 1/2 v naught sine 30. If I put in my delta t, I've got 10 over v naught cosine 30. Okay, minus 1/2 g. And my delta t again, I'm going to have 10 over v naught cosine 30. And all that is squared. Okay, now kind of cool here. Look at that. That cancels completely. Sine over cosine is a tangent. So if we rewrite this thing, we get 1/2 is equal to 10 times the tangent of 30 degrees minus 1/2 g. I'm going to 100 divided by v naught squared over cosine squared 30 degrees. Okay, so now we've got this equation right here. Okay, that's going to work out for us. Okay, now then there's only one unknown in there, so we can solve that however we want to. Okay, I'm not going to go through that. You guys can do that. But what you're going to end up with then is that v naught has to be, I'm not going to tell you. You can calculate that. All right, there you go.